Hey, Nicole Holland here. You're listening to episode 35 of the Business Building Rockstars Show.
You're listening to the Business Building Rockstars Show, where your host, Nicole Holland, gets the lowdown from today's most talented, inspiring, and successful entrepreneurs on what it really takes to reach rockstar status.
Do you want to get your message out in a bigger way by being a guest on a web show or podcast just like this? If you do, text the letters I am ready to 33444, and I will send you free of charge a guide called How to Be a Great Guest. Don't make rookie mistakes that so many people do when they're starting out. Get known as a great guest that hosts search for free by texting I am ready to 33444. So to spell that out, it's the letters I am READY to 33444, and I will send you a complimentary copy of my guide, How to Be a Great Guest. On today's episode, Nellie Akalp and I talk about how she and her husband started their business for about $100 and then sold it for $20 million. We'll discuss why it's important to remember that building a business does take time, what factors make for a really great company, and why panicking will not get you anywhere. Without further ado, here we go. Hello, entrepreneur. This is Nicole Holland, and you're listening to the Business Building Rockstars Show. And today I am hanging out with Nellie Akalp. She is an entrepreneur, small business advocate, speaker, author, and mother of four. She started her first business with her husband and business partner for just $100. And 8 years later, she sold that business to Intuit for $20 million. Pretty wild, and I'm looking forward to getting into that story. Today, she is the founder and CEO of corpnet.com, an online legal document filing service that helps entrepreneurs start, grow, and maintain their businesses. Nellie, thank you so much for being here. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock, Nicole. How are you?
Woohoo! Awesome. I am doing great. I'm fired up for this interview. And, before we really get into it, give us some more. That was a great bio, but tell me what else you're up to these days and how you support people.
Wow. The question is, what am I not up to these days? I just love being busy. I run my family. I run my kids. I watch them grow. And more importantly, I'm a continuing resource to entrepreneurs, startups, and business owners out there who are thinking about starting a business, making that passion, vision, dream into a reality. And I do it daily by inspiring, motivating, and sharing my content across the universe, and really, really just acting as an inspiration to anyone out there who wants to make their business dreams into a reality.
Very cool. So speaking of inspiration, I want to get right into $100 to start a business, $20 million to sell it. How did all that happen?
So in 1997, the internet was just at its birthing stages, and my husband Phil and I were just at the cusp of graduating law school. We soon realized that we were under so much student loans, and frankly, the entry-level salary for a law school graduate wasn't going to support the lifestyle that we were envisioning for ourselves, and more importantly, paying off those student loans. So he came up with this fabulous idea of helping start businesses online for people, and frankly, all he needed was $100 to purchase that domain name. He wasn't working at the time while I was commuting back and forth, holding down a $15 an hour job as a law clerk at a law firm. So I lent him that money, and soon the idea became a domain name, and that domain name became a website, and there it was, our first customer online wanting to form an Oregon corporation, and then the rest is history.
That is so wild. Very cool.
It is. It is. It is. But really, I think in answer to your question, I mean, we literally worked our butts off day and night and grew the business to where it was doing a substantial amount of sales per month. And then fast forward to 2005 when the business was really at its tip, of just exploding. We were blessed with the opportunity of having Intuit come to us and wanted to acquire us. So we never really had an exit strategy in mind, because really when you love what you do on a daily basis and you're so passionate about it and it's making people's lives so much easier and you're really helping be a part of someone's journey in blazing their own trail, it's really is not work, because you love what you do. So when you love it, it doesn't really count as being a job, but you're getting paid for it anyway. So luckily we were hit up by Intuit, and then, we decided it was a perfect time for us to kind of look backwards and really look at where our family is at that time. And we thought, okay, it's time for us to just kind of, take some time off, focus on our then growing family. And then soon thereafter, when our non-compete ran out in 2009, we decided we were too young, too passionate, and too motivated to take on an early retirement. So we decided to come back and start all over again with my current company, corpnet.com.
That is awesome. So I just want to highlight here that you worked your butt off for a long time, and it was a struggle and it wasn't always easy. 8 years, right? 97 to 2005. So it's not like you started the business bootstrapping and then all of a sudden, ta-da, $20 million later. It was a progression, and you did deliver such value that somebody else saw that and came to you rather than you going out, how can I get 20 million? How can I get 20 million?
Yeah, that's exactly true. But I have to be completely transparent with you. I think when I first started my company back in 1997, really, I didn't feel like it was much work for me, because back then the internet was at such a growing stage and at such an infancy that really when we put up the website, and we just started publishing content on our teeny one-page website, and before we knew it, we had our first client wanting to form an Oregon corporation, as I mentioned to you. We didn't have any employees. Heck, we didn't even have an office, and we operated out of our 2-bedroom apartment, and was all we really needed. And our little 2-person business filing company took off so soon. It took off faster than we could even imagine. So in my opinion, it really didn't take much hard work for me with my first business, because the business was growing faster than I could keep up with it. I think my hardest time and my hardest struggle in starting a business, growing a business and running a business has really been with my current company, corpnet.com.
Gotcha. And I think that's really a fantastic point, and I'm so glad you clarified that. And just again, it doesn't happen overnight though. When you're doing what you love and you are busy, that's great. Like for example, me, I work all the damn time. Like I work all the time, but it's not work. Like you said, I love it. And it's like, oh, I get so excited and it's so much fun to interview people like you, And so I get so fired up by what I'm doing that it doesn't feel like what we would normally think of as work. But this also isn't something that like, poof, I decided to have a podcast and now I am John Lee Dumas. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't happen.
Yes.
It is a process.
It's so funny you brought him up because I was one of his first guests on his podcast, and look where he is today. I mean, it's crazy, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, John is actually, we are recording this on April 12th, and his interview is actually airing on April 13th. So he's lucky interview number 13 on the 13th of April. So anybody who's interested in John's story. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Very cool. Okay, so now you were law students and you started this business, and when you were younger, like before law. Was there ever kind of some entrepreneurial spirit that you had, or did this sort of just evolve from practicality?
No, I mean, as a child, I think entrepreneurship has always been ingrained in me, because after my family and I migrated to the U.S. from Iran in 1976, my grandparents dove right into that American dream and started an antique business selling Persian antiques. And as a child, I noted those responsibilities, vision, determination, and passion that my family had in running their own business. They struggled. It wasn't easy running a business in a new country, but they loved what they did, and that stuck with me. And I saw really how much they were willing to sacrifice for their business, because they were so passionate and determined to make a living in the U.S. So at that time, I may have been too young to help out with them in running their business, but I still grew up thinking that starting and running a business was the norm. So as I got older, my grandparents put me to work at subsequent businesses that they owned, first at their Mediterranean restaurant, later at their Swenson's ice cream franchise. So I didn't graduate high school ready to take on the family business or even start my own business. But in fact, I really thought I wanted to be a lawyer, which that's why I went to law school. But chalk it up to watching those too many, television programs like Law and Order that made law look so glamorous and fun. But once I got to law school, I realized it wasn't really what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And really what I wanted to do was do something for myself and be my own boss and really help the masses solve a problem out there and do something bigger than myself. And I can't really picture doing anything else, Nicole. This is really what I love doing, because coupled with the fact that I've done it before and I know how to do it and how to start it all the way up to an exit, and more importantly, I just love seeing people and the smile on their face, and really how I break it down for them, and how I simplify things for that upcoming entrepreneur who really doesn't know where to begin, where to start.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk about CorpNet a little bit. How did that transition happen? You mentioned that once the non-compete was over. So did you just decide to model what you had already done, or were there some things that you wanted to do differently, or how did the vision for what you're currently doing come about?
Well, the vision, it's actually funny, because for the 3 years that I was under a non-compete with my previous company, I was literally crawling out of my skin to the point that I was selling T-shirts out of the back of my S550. And soon thereafter, when 2009 rolled around, I know everybody laughs at this. I was literally, when I say this to you, I was selling T-shirts out of the back of my S550. I mean, that's how bored I was. So when 2009 came around, I looked into the industry, and although my old company was still providing similar services and there were many other competitors offering similar services to what we wanted to do, there wasn't really anybody providing it with the way I was envisioning providing it. So that's why we came up and launched CorpNet.com. Don't ask me how I came up with the name, because really it was the most easiest 7-letter domain name that was available out there on the internet. So there wasn't any type of branding behind it. We just literally looked up what's the most simplest name out there that would have any connection to what we wanted to provide, and came up with CorpNet. And then in July 1st of 2009, CorpNet.com was launched. And this time around, we were providing the same services we had with our first company, but we were finding it much harder to compete in what was now such a crowded marketplace. And we'd done virtually no marketing or advertising the first go around with my first company. And we didn't really need to, as I mentioned, because the business with the first company was growing faster than we could really keep up with it. So with this time around, when I launched CorpNet, I was dealing in a much different setting, in a crowded marketplace whereby I'm now dealing with hundreds of thousands of competitors in such a saturated marketplace where the service that we were going to provide was really a commodity. But because I'm such a tenacious person and I have that vision and drive and really passion, it didn't stop me from coming out and establishing myself as the voice, as a small business expert within the industry. And of course, soon, our company really started heading to where it's now one of the leaders in the industry. But I think the bottom line is that my motto is there's plenty of business to go around for everybody, and fear of failure has never been an issue for me, because as an entrepreneur, you have to stomach the ups and the downs. But if you really believe in what you're doing, you're going to make it work and you're going to find a way to make it happen.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more. Now, what is something that you personally do? Because there are the downs, there's the ups, and then there's the downs. And I'm guessing that you're probably like me in this way, that when there's a down, you don't get spinning out of control. You just go, okay, well, here's something to overcome, or here's something to deal with. What is one way that you find works really well for you to manage yourself when you are hit with something that you weren't expecting, that's maybe a little bit difficult or frustrating?
Well, I think truly the secret to my success is it really takes the sum of all its parts to become who you are. So the first thing I do when I've hit a bumpy road is I go to my team. I go to my backbone. I mean, my team is my right hand. And notice I don't have one person. It's my team. So, and I think it really takes a set of special people, dynamites, to make a great big company. And the first thing I do is obviously I go to my executive team and we collaborate, because I think that's what it's all about. I think as an entrepreneur, panicking is not going to get you anywhere. It's about just stepping back, taking a deep breath, looking at your analytics, looking at the reason for what it is that's happening, and then really having that flexibility to pivot and not being so reactive, because sometimes it's good to be reactive, but other times you just have to weigh it out and just be patient, because as an entrepreneur, you're going to have, it's like riding the waves and being able to graciously deal with the crashes that happen as well. But you can't be reactive and you can't panic, because as an entrepreneur, you're just going to have to be able to stomach those highs as well as those lows.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Now, you've been in business with your husband and in partnership with your husband in life for quite some time, and raising 4 children. And there's, I bet, a lot of stuff going on there, that you have, you have this family life, plus you have this business life, this big business life. What do you say is the secret to your longevity in successfully working with your life partner as your business partner?
My goodness, you just gave me goosebumps, Nicole. I think it has to do with really respecting each other and making sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes. I think respect has to do a lot with it, especially when you're in a long-term marriage with somebody that, for Phil and I, it started as us being study partners. We met back in college 23 years ago, and the relationship took off, and then it was the business, and then kids, and then yet another business, and now we're on to raising teenagers and, a teenager and then a toddler. So we have a ton on our plate, and it's very fast paced. But I think the secret to us really having not only a healthy marital relationship, but also a business relationship is that, he's my muse, I'm his muse. We really, really believe in the power of two, and it all boils down to respect and putting our egos aside when we're trying to run a business, because when egos come into the picture, then kind of everything goes downwards. But when you're really looking at it for the benefit of what's best for the company, and you put your ego aside and you have linear roles where you're not stepping on each other's toes, then it becomes a workable relationship. And then, we keep it spicy and intimate by mandating date night once a week, because you have to have that, other part of the marriage and not let that kind of fall down either. So it's really important to us to take time out and just date each other and keep it spicy and intimate and fun. So we often take trips together, whether it's just an overnight trip, a getaway, or, coming up, we're going to be going soon and doing our first getaway, just husband and wife without the kids, which I'm really, really excited about.
Ooh la la, very exciting. Now, what would you say your favorite self-care strategy is?
My favorite self-care strategy is exercise. I love to exercise, and to me, exercising, eating healthy, and really, really living a positive, happy, healthy lifestyle is really why I get to do so much and why I do it so happily ever after. But in a nutshell, it's exercising. I love boxing, I love dancing, and I love getting into the gym and just putting in an hour daily to start up my day. And I think that's the reason why I have such a positive aura about me, a positive energy about me, because I love to work out, and I think it's good to work out. It keeps you healthy, and it really clears your mind of any negative or negativity that may come or may have entered your mind.
Fantastic. Now, do you have anyone in your life who has been a mentor to you that stands out among the crowd?
I think in my lifetime, I've had many mentors, but I would say my husband is truly my biggest critic and my greatest supporter, and I would look at him as my mentor throughout my life, because Phil always tries to push me out of my comfort zone and really, really provide a vehicle for me to go to places that I would never imagine ever being or wanting to be. Like, for example, with my first company, I was never the face of the company or the brand for the company. Who would have ever thought that I would be the one who would be, being in the media and doing live appearances, whether it would be on a webinar or podcast or on live TV. And those are the things that I really, really cannot give credit to anyone but my husband, because he always has a way of pushing me out of my comfort zone to doing things that I've never done before. So I would say he's probably my ultimate mentor in life.
Fantastic. Props to Phil. And what would you say, do you have a favorite online tool that's helped you, whether it's to manage your schedule or just manage your business, or anything that's online that you've learned that you're like, whoa, I could not live without this now?
So there's several of them, actually. As you know, I'm a business expert, and I'm an online voice for the small business community, whereby on any type of small business topic or business matter, I can provide and share tips. So Haro is a great tool for me, because you sign up and then you get to get notifications from everybody in the universe who is requesting a tip from you or want you to provide content to them on an article that they're writing. Another one is, I'm huge within the social media community, so I try to manage everything by going online to Hootsuite, whereby I can manage multiple interfaces, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatnot, and just do all my social media in one platform. And then as far as my scheduling, my iPhone is my best friend. I do everything on my iPhone.
Awesome.
I run my business on my iPhone, so I could be anywhere and I could be doing my business.
Fantastic. Nellie, thank you so much. Before we wrap up, let us know where our listeners can get more information, and tell me a little bit more, if you will, about CorpNet.
So CorpNet provides document filing services to new and existing business owners who either want to start a business, whether it's to set up a sole proprietorship partnership, or they want to take the next step to incorporate a business, form an LLC. We provide the services in all 50 states. You can come to our website and visit our products and services at www.corpnet.com. We also provide services to existing business owners who want to set up other businesses or have an existing business and who'd like us to help them with managing their business filings or growing their business, whether it be to provide them with trademark protection or copyright services, or simply keeping their existing business in compliance. Again, we do provide all of our services in all 50 states. You can visit our website by going to corpnet.com. We have live chat experts standing by to answer any and all of your inquiries, or you can simply email us to info@corpnet.com, or just pick up the phone and dial 1-888-281-7111. We have business experts who are standing by to answer any of your inquiries from Monday through Fridays, 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Awesome. And we will also, if anybody is out and about, you're driving or anything like that, you can always visit bbrshow.com for the show notes. I will have all of that linked up there so you can reach out to Nellie and her team and get sorted. So thank you so much for being here with me today. It's been a blast, and I really appreciate you sharing your journey with the listeners.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, make sure to subscribe on iTunes so that you don't miss another episode. And if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. And if you want to catch up on past episodes, it's super easy to do when you subscribe on iTunes. Also, we're on Stitcher, and of course, you can visit bbrshow.com for all of the episodes, show notes, and more. I would love to hear what you think about today's episode by leaving a review on iTunes, or also you can go to bbrshow.com, and on our show notes page, there is a comment section. Dear listeners, I do this show for you, so the more you let me know what you love, the more I can bring you that. Don't forget that the Business Building Rockstar Show releases every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So 3 times per week, you can listen in to what the journey towards rockstar status entrepreneurship is really like. Until next time, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to connecting again real soon.
And there you have it. If you enjoyed this episode of the Business Building Rockstars Show, be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a thing. And visit bbrshow.com for all the show notes and links to resources discussed on today's show. Plus, lots more.